Did Puma finally get it right with LaMelo? Yo, Zakaragi here for a performance review for the Puma MB.05. Now these guys really surprised me. So before we get into things, I need you guys to do me a huge favor. I need you to drop a like, drop a comment, and maybe even subscribe to the channel as well, as it really does help me out a bunch. So go ahead, do all those three things, and without further ado, let's get straight into this review. Now this is LaMelo's 5th signature shoe, and you know, where has all the time gone? We're at 5 already, but you know, over the years, his shoe line hasn't had the best reputation. Me personally, I thought that his first shoe was very solid, definitely a good hoop shoe, but a lot of people may disagree with that. And then so on and so forth from there. You know, it felt like everything else was sort of a mess, honestly, as far as like looks, performance, all that jazz. Now, I will say that obviously his shoe is more targeted to the youth. You know, they like the kind of out there designs and colors that these shoes have to offer, but you know, for the mature adult audience, it's kind of much for us, to be honest. Like me personally, you know, this colorway right here, it's kind of a lot for me to take on court, but I did it anyways for you guys, so there you go. But this is the World Tour colorway, and it is the debut colorway of the shoe. So from what the designer was saying when he was talking about the design of the MB.05, they're really trying to push for this LaMelo is a rock star agenda, and they're kind of showing that through the shoe. There's a lot of different like rock star kind of vibe through it, with like the Grim Reaper, I guess, on the shoe, on the outsole, and just other little things throughout the shoe. I can't really describe it too well because I'm not really into the rock scene, but kind of that vibe, if you know what I'm saying. So this is the box that the shoes come with right here. You know, that same kind of thing. You have like the see-through panel on the front of it. I don't really know what this is. At first I thought it was like slash marks or something, but honestly, now that I'm looking at it, it kind of looks like the seams of a basketball, but I could be wrong, honestly. But yep, standard MB box, not from here branding, all that jazz. Now these do retail for $125 US or $160 Canadian, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. And that is about mid-tier pricing. Now, I don't know how that stacks up against last year's price for the MB.04. Again, someone can let me know in the comments, but not too bad, honestly. But getting into the actual performance side of things, the one thing I want to start with actually is the lockdown and support. Now, I know the big part of the design here are the 2 straps that go across the shoe like that, and I'm gonna tell you right away, these straps are purely just for aesthetics. They don't do anything to add to the performance of the shoe at all. So I tested it out playing with the straps kind of securely fastened, and then with the straps kind of not really fastened that tightly at all, and really there was no difference. So the lacing system itself does a good job of hugging your foot and holding it into place. Now, one thing I do like about it is that we do have eyelets kind of going through the tongue as well, all the way up towards the top of the tongue. So really make sure that the tongue in the shoe itself is hugging your foot very well, which I really did appreciate. So I did feel pretty locked in when I tied these up, and then you are sitting within the midsole as well. So the containment you get from the shoes is great. The heel counter is nice and sturdy, so your heel is not really moving. I had no heel slip issues either. So all in all, the lockdown was great. Now there is a shank play within the shoes, if I'm not mistaken. I can definitely feel like there is something there. Couldn't tell you for certain though, but I will say that it did offer some good torsional support, so no problems on that end either. So all in all, lockdown support was solid. So when it comes to the fit and sizing of these guys, I do need to share a little bit of a backstory here. So I was sent this pair from Puma and Foot Locker. Now, everything I'm gonna say in this video is my complete and honest opinion. They're not paying me to say anything, but they did send me a half size up from my normal size. Now, I did eventually go into stores and try on my actual size, which is a size 10. And I'm not gonna lie, lengthwise, it is a bit snug. It's very one-to-one, but me personally, I like having a little bit more space in the toe area. I didn't really have much room for my toes when I tried on my true size, so the 10.5 was better for me. Obviously, that might might not be the case for you. You may like that one-to-one fit of going true to size, so try them on in store first if you can. But I will say width-wise, it's pretty standard, honestly. It's not too wide, it's not too narrow, so if you like having a one-to-one fit where your toe is almost touching the end there, go true to size. But if you do want a bit more space in the toe area, going a half size up won't hurt. But obviously, try them on in store first if you can. Now, when it comes to the materials here, it's mostly made up of a screen mesh. We do have some fused TPU layers on high wear areas just to add some more durability to the shoes. But compared to previous Lamello models, the materials don't feel very stiff. It's actually quite soft, honestly, which is good for me because I felt like they didn't really need any break-in time to start compared to those other Lamello models, which did need a little more break-in time in my opinion. So right out the box, these are good to go. Comfort is definitely there. It's very well padded within the inside of the shoes. The tongue is very well padded, so once you lace these up, you will notice that comfort. Now, I will say the materials were supportive for the most part. I didn't really feel my foot kind of moving within the footbed at all. They kind of contain my foot on those like lateral movements and whatnot. And also, breathability isn't the greatest, honestly. There's not much ventilation going throughout the shoe, so just keep that in mind if you are an outdoor hooper. You might find these to be a little hot on foot. Okay, so when it comes to the cushion setup here, this does use Puma's Nitro Foam, which is a nitrogen-infused type of foam that's used on a lot of different Puma products. So the Puma All Pro Nitro 2 uses the same cushion setup. If you haven't seen my review for that, link will be up here. But compared to the Puma MB.04, the MB.05 feels like an upgrade. So when I was playing with it on court though, it does feel underwhelming still, but what you're getting out of this setup is a plush ride, especially in the heel, that does feel comfy overall. You're getting decent responsiveness out of it and decent impact protection as well, and court feel is definitely there also. Now, this is kind of like the same thing you'd expect from each and every Lamello shoe so far, so nothing different here, but I feel like the plushness is what's really the difference maker between this one and previous models. But all in all, like I said, still underwhelming, not the greatest thing out there. And finally, the biggest surprise was the traction. So what we have going on for the outsole here is a Grim Reaper design. So we do have this skull at the bottom with the one of one as its teeth. Now throughout the outsole we do have other patterns that kind of tie towards the Grim Reaper, I'm assuming. And then the one here, which is Lamello's jersey number, is like the Grim Reaper's scythe, it almost seems like. But we do have other like herringbone within there and linear patterns just to keep it more traditional for the outsole pattern. But as far as how these performed on court, it was surprisingly solid, honestly. Pause, believe it or not. So I took these on 4 different courts, and from those courts, the traction performance was consistent overall. Now, this isn't like an elite traction setup that is gonna give you like top tier grip, but it definitely gets the job done and is better compared to past models, especially when it comes to those dustier courts. I mean, it does pick up a moderate amount of dust, but you know, one quick wipe and you should be good to go. And then on those cleaner courts, no problems at all. These will hold you down. Now, I will say I didn't take these outdoors, so I couldn't tell you how durable they are, but I was pretty happy to find that the traction was, you know, finally fixed for the Lamello shoes, because they've had a reputation of having bad traction overall, especially on those dusty courts, but these guys definitely fixed the problem. But overall, it finally feels like Puma and Lamello are taking a step in the right direction. Now, I feel like the shoe will change a lot of people's minds about how they view Lamello's shoe line, so if you're willing to take a chance on these, maybe wait for a more subtle colorway or a colorway that you can tolerate on court. You can see that these are actually solid performers on court. Now, comment down below and let me know if you have any questions, any concerns. I'll be happy to answer them in the comment section down below, so make sure you drop a comment. But we're at that point in the video now. It's time for hashtag Zacharagi, what you rock. And for today, I got another shoe here that I am currently testing out. We do have the Anta Kai 2 right here. I am very late on this review. I got these like a couple months ago, honestly, but performance review is coming soon, so stay tuned. But that is it for today. I appreciate you for watching. I'm signing out. Peace.